I've just passed an FTMO 100,000 verification, meaning I'm now an FTMO funded trader. Now in this video, I'm not only going to be sharing with you my wins, but more importantly, the losses and the struggles that I had, especially mentally along the way, and sharing a few tips and tricks to make your journey that little bit easier too. So you ready? Let's take a look. Okay, YouTube, so an FTMO challenge finally passed. This is my first time I've ever passed. Absolutely buzzing. But this video isn't about me boasting. I'm going to be sharing with you, most importantly, my own struggles, the challenges I had, especially mentally along the way, so that you can learn from my mistakes. Now, before we get into it, let's just validate that this is my account and I've not got a screenshot and I'm just randomly showing you. So we can see up here, there's my name and there's my initials. Right, we've got the 100,000 account with the 5% profit. And then if we go down and I bring up MetaTrader, we can see it's 105.72.95. Back to here, 105.72.95. So hopefully now, I don't know why I wouldn't have any reason to lie, but I do get it. It's full of scammers and liars in this industry, but hopefully you now at least believe. Now let's go back to phase one. So that's a 10% profit, and you can see the balance was 111,000. This was super clean and smooth. So what happened on the Friday night? I let the US open, all the things happen, and around 6 p.m. UK time, that's when all the news dies off, and just things start to settle down. Now, I don't normally like placing trades on a weekend. However, all my technical analysis for my trades started to line up. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen my other video, I built my own Tradingview code and scripts, so indicators on Tradingview using ChatGPT. Excuse me, check that video out there. So I just used, and all my technical analysis lined up basically that evening. I placed the trades. Yes, I did take a little bit more risk, but the technical analysis was there. So using good risk management, if stops may have been hit, it would have, account and knocked the equity a bit, but I was confident. And I woke up on the Monday morning and I looked and MetaTrader from my mobile, it was just empty. Now, usually that's not a good sign, right? But I looked at the balance and it was like 100. Sorry, there's one trade running. I was like, what's going on here? And I closed it immediately and boom, that was the challenge passed. And if we go down here, we can see that I was only ever in 1.6% drawdown. And yeah, so like the 5th of October was a Sunday. Here's the Monday. So between the two, I think that's when I closed when I woke up in the morning. Um, it was insane. And then the other two trades are just like small lot sizes I had to take just to meet the minimum 4 days trading. So if we click into this here, it was JPY pairs. The Euro USD hit the stop, but look at that, like just insane. Some of the, I set it 2 to 1, 3 to 1 risk to reward. And they all came in. And I think the AUD JPY I closed manually, um, if I remember correctly. Yes, the close time 07:39, so that would have been either 5:39 or 6:39 UK time. That this is the server time here. So it worked. Like I woke up, I was like, ugh. And that's what happens when you've got a strategy, right? Your technical analysis lines up, and you just have the confidence, and it was so refreshing. But there's a big but. The second phase, the verification phase, where I only need to make 5% profit, looked nothing like this. And this is the part what I wanted to show you and where hopefully you can learn from. So here we have it, but here's the full picture. Look at that. This was awful. Um, what is this? All this here was me taking trades I had no business being in. It's doubt, fear, uncertainty, because I was taking trades that didn't meet my strategy. And it was here at the 5th of December, no, November, sorry. We're now on the 22nd and I passed on the 20th of November. my account balance was minus 7.5%. And I was just like, Phill, what are you doing? You're going to waste it. You know, why are you taking trades that you have no business being in that doesn't meet your strategy? And we've all done it, haven't we? Now, I just had to be really honest, and I think this is where most people give up with trading because it's brutal. It's you against the markets, and it is a mirror, and it shows you exactly what you're doing. So my self-analysis here was self-sabotage. So there's two versions of Phill. There's the Phill that's the adult, the one who's been in the military, the one who's rode the motorbikes, the adrenaline junkie, like skydiving, uh, confident. But then there's the boy Phill, you know, struggled in life, lacked confidence, always told I was no good and I wouldn't amount to anything. So even though as an adult, right, I know, who I am, this boy Phill was doing all this work. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because them realizations, that was the fifth. But I had to have that honest conversation. Now, the reason I'm just making this so open and being vulnerable to you is because I know what you're going through. I don't know of anyone who doesn't want to trade to give their family a better life. And sometimes you might think you're mental, like you can see it, you can see the potential, but it just always seems out your grip. I knew my trading strategy worked. I back tested it so many times. Like I was not surprised. I mean, it was wonderful to wake up on the first one to have that 10%. Like, don't get me wrong, yeah, was the correlation risk? Maybe, but you could see it as a correlation risk. But the way I see it is my technical analysis was bang on. And have you ever noticed that it always seems to be one currency pair that gets the shit news and gets hammered? Um, and on that one, it was the JPY. Like everything else looked like a buy. And during the end of this one, we'll have a look. It was the CHF. Again, my technical analysis said the Swiss franc was getting it this week and it was going to go weaker. And that's what brought it home. So the fifth, them realizations. But look at that. This confidence here hit a couple of stops for sure. But the growth, bang, bang, bang. Again, going back to dicking around here, like being completely honest, like, Phill, get a grip while you're doing it. But through good risk management, catching myself, boom, growth again. Bit more of a play. Now I actually passed in the morning, but when I closed all trades with slippage, it took me like $40 below the target. And I was like, so I had to like put on a couple of like riskier trades just to bring it home. Um, so yeah, let's look at it. If we go to October, you'll see there's 3 grand. There's 2 days where I lost 3 grand. And if we go into November, that was the third one. And that was where I had the 5th of November, that fight, that word of myself. Now, from that point, look, you can see I had a losing day there, but I was just like, oh, do you know what? Stop it, caught myself. This one, 2 trades, both hit the stops. Great, leave it. Let's have a look at them. They were the NZD. They were setting up. It just happened to hit. And then boom, this came in. NZD CAD. This gold one had no business being in. Didn't meet again, me just being an idiot. Um, this one here, look at that CHF. Remember what I said? They all come. So yes, is there correlation risk? Yes, but my technical analysis told me the Swiss franc was about to go weak. Now I set these 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. In hindsight, some of them went way beyond 3 and 4-to-1. So I've got a bit more that I'm going to be working on now. But what a day that was. Absolutely insane. And I hit that one hit a stop, but rather than trading, I just took the win that day. This day, the next day, I overtraded. There's 13 trades. I had to look at that. Like it's about $700, well, nearly $800 lost there, and there's a grand, $1,000, 1,500. Like again, I was just being a tool. But do you know what I did? I was like, Phill, you're still in the green. Stop it. Get a grip. And then finally, I just got this one here. Now, um, it was this. This was the last trade. I closed them all at once. These three. Again, I tried. Why are you trading gold, Phill? And this is where the slippage got me. So I went back in with gold, hit a stop, went back in. I was like, oh, what are you doing? And then the trade did show on a lower time frame, not my exact strategy, and it just came in. And oh man, I was so grateful. But hopefully, you can see, that people say less is more. I certainly agree. Hopefully, you can see from where I had that serious word in myself. There's still over trading going on for sure. Um, and I like now know that I just need to wait for my strategy. It's 4 hours. It's very specific. It disqualifies more trades than it qualifies. I just need to now leave it and wait. But look, there's something beautiful here, and this again is one thing I had a realization at this point when I had this honest conversation. Let's say right at that before that point. Let's say here. Let's say if everything turned around and it hit my balance and I did it through taking trades that I had no business being in that didn't meet my strategy. Well, that wouldn't have left me a confident trader. I would have blown my account because I would have had the doubt and uncertainty which we've all faced, right? But now I've since that point and when I place them trades, I now know I just need to wait for my rules to come along. Like I've created them to be very specific on purpose. So I'm not stuck at the charts. So I can go to the gym. So I can go and pick my daughter up from school. So I can see my family. So if I'm on holiday, I only need to check at the charts. Now, this is UK time, but I like to check at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. And 2 p.m. is when the US opens. Now, I've found that if I do place trades at 10 a.m., whilst they do go, once they meet the criteria, it's generally from 2 p.m. So I might even just start looking at the charts after the US Open. It might mean I miss some trades, but it'll also mean that I won't be sitting in and will mentally affected by drawdown. I'm still working on myself. Okay. Now, this was a mess. We can agree. I'm not perfect, but one thing I know I had locked down was my risk management, which is I'm about to show you now. If you haven't seen my previous video on risk management, I did it. You can check it out right here. But it's this tool. It's called Trade Assistant. It's on the MQL5 store. It costs $100. This kept me in the game. This is insane, and it is well worth the investment. Let me just give you a quick overview. First of all, we have the risk balance. So let's say if you want to do 0.5 of your total balance. Now, if you have a look here at the lots, I'm just about to hit tab now. I've changed it. I'm changing it for 1% tab. And there we go. It's changed my lot size automatically. Now, let's say you do your technical analysis and you decide your stop loss is going to be 50 pips. So it's 500 points on here. So I just put 550 pips. And we're at 3-1. I'm going to press tab and you'll see again this change. The take profit line to 1500, so 150 pips. Likewise, you might wish to do a 2-1. And it'll change that to 100 pips. 500 stop loss, 50 stop loss, 100 take profit. And I really like this bit here. If you press lines, it'll place lines on your chart showing you your entry price, where your stop would be, and where you take profit, showing you how much you'd lose in your account balance if it hit the stop, how much profit. And you can hit this if you want to do a sell. You just hit that flip, and it'll just flip the imaginary lines for you into a sell. And then all you do is you press buy or sell. Boom, sets everything for you. And you can just simply, if you want a different currency pair, you could just go and it'll make every single adjustment. See how it's changed the lot size? It shows you your spread, the market's closed, and the commissions. So, the lot size there is 1.05 because each currency has a different lot value. So let's go USD CHF. Boom, it's changed it. There's no more working out. You know your risk to a T, like within seconds, and you can just make that trading decision, bang, buy or sell. I love it. Again, if you take If you don't take anything else from this video, Trade Assistant, and hopefully everything that I've shared with you, or especially about my failures, you can take forward. Just get your strategy, stick to it, because if you don't stick to it, you won't have the confidence. Even if you pass it, you'll end up blowing your account because you're not sticking to your strategy. If I was to give you a recipe on how to bake a chocolate cake, and you took that recipe and you went and applied it, you'll get a chocolate cake. That'll be your outcome. But if you start changing the recipe, i.e., taking bits of different strategies from things on YouTube that you see, like, don't do that. Just get your strategy that works, back test it, manually go through and make sure it works. Build that confidence within yourself. That is the key. If you skip your back testing, you won't have the confidence to place these. And, don't be jumping back and forth. Just find your strategy, find your recipe, and stick to it. Now, I massively appreciate it if you give me a follow. If this has been of value, please give me a follow. I always try and be as open as possible. Look, we're in an industry here. It is full of BSs, right? We can all agree on that. Whether it's doing fake videos over in Dubai and hiring sports cars. I'm not about that. I'm about being raw and real. So if you appreciate that, please give me a follow, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and drop in the comments below and let me know what you think of this video. I truly hope that this has been of value to you and that this helps your own journey. And, if it does and, you get some improvements, let me know. I'd love to hear that. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next. Cheers.